Hello and welcome to Shauns Take, brought to you by the Keystone Sports Network. Here are your hosts, Jim and Shaun.
Hello and welcome to Shauns Take, brought to you by the Keystone Sports Network. I'm Jim Galante. He is Shaun Gold. Shaun, you're coming off a winning week, 3-2 last week.
I mean, it's about time I give people a winning week. I think it's been long overdue. So I hope some people were listening this week compared to other weeks, Jim.
I hope so. Also, we're not going to get into my record from last week. Last week, a lot of interesting games going on. Several top 10 teams went down. A couple of upsets going on there. Shaun, just overall in college football, I feel like similar to last year, we got a lot of balance, don't we?
We definitely do. And it's refreshing, as a fan to not just see these juggernauts just dominate the entire season. There really are. Most every team can lose on any given week. And, we're seeing a lot of shakeup in the rankings, which is always exciting. And especially as the season progresses, I'm assuming we're going to see a lot more shakeup coming our way as well.
I think so too. And again, I think that comes from a lot of parity going on. And it's interesting to me for a couple of years, the narrative has been with NIL and the transfer portal, the rich are going to get richer, the poor are going to get poorer. I don't think that's really happened. I think it's kind of equalized the field a bit. Those very elite teams, the Georgias, the Alabamas, they're not the elite anymore. They're not head and shoulders above everybody else. They're vulnerable.
Completely agree. And like you said, a lot of people thought that NIL was only going to make those teams better. It has evened the playing field a lot, because you could be a guy who used to, I'm going to go to Georgia because they're the best team and they give me the best offer, but if somebody else wants to pay me a little bit more and I get quicker playing time, okay, that's a good option for me. So it actually really does even the playing field a bit. And that's why we're seeing, even expanded playoffs are such a good thing in today's day and age, because, you used to be able to look at it, and a lot of times, even in the 4-team format, team number 4 really got blown out a whole lot of times. And that's changing. Team 8 is going to have a shot this year. And it's nice to see, an expanded competitive field.
And remember, last year, a regular season 2-loss team, Ohio State, won it all. Not only won it all, they pretty much dominated in the playoffs. All right, Shaun, enough of that. How about we look at our games for the week? A few interesting ones, even though we don't have like those top 10 matchups like we have had in the past. Some interesting games. Let's start out with 5-0 Iowa State. They're at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 1.5 favorite in this one.
Another one of these spreads that kind of surprises you the first time you look at it. And we had some of those last week. And I think, we both thought, especially the LSU line seemed off. And well, it was pretty spot on with how the game went, and same with Alabama against Georgia. This is a Big 12 showdown. You talk about how much college football has changed. Jim, the Big 12 is like the epitome of changing. Every single year, whoever is supposed to be good doesn't end up. Teams come out of nowhere. The Big 12 is this just revolving door. And to me, this is one of those weeks where that can continue to happen. So I think Cincinnati at home is favored for a reason in this game, even if on paper it looks like Iowa State should be favored. So I'm going to listen to the market setting that line and go with Cincy at home. Both teams can score. This could very well come down to who has the ball last. I think the difference here, though, being at home for Cincinnati is a big deal in this game. I think that helps them get a win here.
Shaun, I had the same reaction to that spread. Wait a minute, that seems off. Last week when I felt that way, you know what? The people setting these spreads, they were right. Quick tidbit on Iowa State. 5-0, only one game have they allowed 20 points, and it was 21 points to Kansas State. I think there's some defense there for Iowa State. I'm going that way. So we're going opposed of each other in the first game. You've got Cincinnati, I got Iowa State. Let's move on to my Nittany Lions here, Shaun. A disappointing, difficult double overtime loss with Oregon. And, I want to say that they played well but came up short. But they didn't play well. And they are now 0-4 against the spread. But if there's a team that will help you get healthy, it's the 0-4 Bruins. Penn State goes to the Rose Bowl as a 26.5-point favorite.
I think it's a big week for Penn State, and we've already seen UCLA is unraveling. They fired their coach. They've got nothing going for them right now. Jim, one thing that I was able to pull before we got on the air, since 2021, Penn State, coming off a loss, is 8-3 against the spread. So not only do they win after coming off a loss, but they cover after coming off a loss. And I think that talks about the preparation that Penn State's able to have after a loss. They do seem to really step it up. It's kind of like the kick that they need that you wish they got a couple weeks ago before going and playing Oregon to get a win there. But when they lose, they bounce back. And like you said, they're 0-4 against the spread. They really should be better than that this year against the spread in those metrics. So I think things will start to even out for Penn State. And I think they go to UCLA, get a huge win, dominate, and get some mojo back. So that's what I'm looking for from Penn State this week. And, this really should be a 30-plus point win for them.
Do you know what, Shaun? I mentioned that Penn State is 0-4 against the spread. The Bruins, 1-3. So it's not like they've been a juggernaut in going 0-4 where, well, it's been close. They've played well. They haven't. Penn State, we've been waiting for them to wake up. Even with big point spread wins in the first 3 games out of conference, they didn't look good, and they fell short of the spread. Obviously, they fell short again against Oregon. Now, going against UCLA, this offense of the Nittany Lions is just too good, Shaun, to be as bad as they've looked. They are going to take it out on somebody. It's going to happen. My pick is for that to happen this week against the Bruins. They need to get away from home to the Nittany Lions. Forget that they are traveling across the country. They probably want to get as far away from State College and their fans as they possibly can for this week. I'm going to roll with the Nittany Lions also there. All right, next up, interesting one, Shaun. The undefeated Vanderbilt Commodores. They travel to Alabama 3-1. Interesting game. If you remember a year ago what happened, at home, Vanderbilt pulled off the huge upset. Don't think Vegas is a big fan yet of Vanderbilt. They need to see more. Alabama, again, at home, 10.5-point favorite here, Shaun.
It's really hard to be able to predict what this Alabama team is going to be, because if we remember last year, they beat Georgia as well last year. And it was kind of that moment of, yeah, Alabama's just fine. They're still Bama. And then things just started to unravel. So will it be different this year? I think it definitely is a different Bama team. I think they're better than they were last year. But I'm not going to discredit Vanderbilt just yet. I think Vanderbilt, they've played Bama really tough. Even when they were a bad program, there were times when, they leveled up their play when it was Alabama week. And now we have a good Vanderbilt team that I think believes they can win this game. And Jim, I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Alabama will win. But I do think this game can be pretty close. And I think Vanderbilt's going to slow the game down, try to control the clock, and they'll play solid defense. So in a week where I think everybody is going to kind of be gravitating towards Alabama, rightfully so because of what they did last week, I think Vanderbilt can shock some people, and I think it's going to be a closer game than expected. So give me Vandy with the points.
It's very tempting. Quick note on Vanderbilt. Remember, they have wins over Virginia Tech. Maybe not that impressive, but also a win over South Carolina. But listen to this schedule coming up for them. Alabama this week, then LSU, then Missouri, then Texas. Not a lot of fun for the Commodores there. And this is one, again, that 10.5-point spread. Boy, I've been battling myself back and forth on this one. But at home, the revenge factor part of this, coming after a win at Georgia, I'm going with Alabama in this one. So again, we're our opposing picks. We'll see how that one turns out. Next up, a game that probably before the season started sounded a lot more interesting than it might turn out to be. Texas preseason number 1. They have not played well. They're 3-1. but the Florida Gators 1-3 so far. And I'm a little surprised at this spread. Want to hear your thoughts on it. Texas, a 6.5-point favorite at the Swamp.
Well, like you said, Florida 1-3, and they have not looked good. And I typically have come to Florida's defense this year, but I'm running out of ways to try to defend this team. Against LSU, they had a close spread, didn't cover. Against Miami, they had a close spread, didn't even come close to covering. So I don't understand why Florida keeps getting these, within a touchdown spreads. And I mean, Texas, they're waiting to just explode right now. And I think this could be a week where it should be similar to the Miami game. It should never be close. Texas should just manhandle them. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Florida's unraveling, and I think they continue to unravel. I really don't understand why they keep getting spreads like this, because they're not a 6.5-point team against Texas. So I'm rolling with Texas big time.
I'm going with you on this one. I'm sticking with Texas. Texas hasn't been real impressive, but they are just playing the better team. A little bit like my Penn State analysis. Aren't they better than what they've shown so far? Florida, I guess you could have the same argument for the Gators. They should be better than what they've shown so far. But I'm going to go with the Longhorns, who still have national championship aspirations. Let's go with the Longhorns to go in and spank the Florida Gators, giving up that 6.5 points. And finally, Shaun, I'm thinking this might be the best game on our schedule here, and that is the undefeated Miami Hurricanes. They're up to number 3 in the country. They are at Florida State. Florida State coming off a disappointing loss to Virginia Friday night. They're ranked 18th in the country. Florida State is getting 4.5 points against the Hurricanes.
Like you said, I completely agree. This is the best game of this week, and it's going to be a really fun game to watch. Miami's done absolutely nothing wrong this year. They have proven that I think they're a better team than they were last year, even when Cam Ward became the first overall pick in the NFL draft. This Miami team is really, really good, but I think that loss against Virginia doesn't accurately represent how good FSU is this year. And I think they want to get back on track here. And they know, an upset win here could do a whole lot for them and the rankings moving forward. So I really like what I've seen out of Miami, but we've also seen Miami not be the most consistent program. When it seems like Miami's back, they fall back down to earth. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to Miami, but I do think Florida State has a realistic shot in this game. So I like them plus 4.5. It's going to be a hard-nosed football game. And I think FSU can come out on top in this one, Jim.
I'm becoming a believer in the Hurricanes. Little scheduling fact on Miami. After this game, they're playing the number 18 ranked Seminoles. Do you know Miami does not have a ranked opponent left on their schedule?
Pretty favorable for them.
Now, maybe things will change. I think Louisville could end up ranked. But not only no ranked teams, no Clemson. I know Clemson's 1-3, but they're still Clemson. No Virginia, who upset Florida State last week. And when we say no ranked teams, that means no Georgia Tech either for Miami. They might be smelling it. You know what? A win here all but guarantees a playoff spot for the Hurricanes. I'm going with Miami on this one. I'm sold on them. I think they're for real. I think they win this one, Shaun. So I've got the Hurricanes. We'll see how we do this week. Hopefully you have another winning record. That's it for Shauns Take. Make sure you tune in again next week.
Keystone Sports Network.